What is up, everyone? Darkside Phil here, and I have just completed my playthrough of Donkey Kong Bonanza on the Switch 2. It clocked in at just around 30 hours long. I did a significant amount of the side content. I did not 100% the game, nor did I do any of the post-game content. And I'm going to tell you why in this review. I'm going to be as concise as I can be while trying not to spoil, because there are some critical elements to Donkey Kong Bonanza that if you were a fan of Donkey Kong, you would not want to be spoiled on. So I hope that you appreciate that I'm not going to tell you full justification for some of my thoughts on the game. However, the fact that this game was being pushed as the system seller, right? After Mario Kart World came out and people started playing it like, wow, it's really good. But a lot of people, including me, ended up becoming very skeptical about Mario Kart World because they realized the game doesn't have a lot of content. You can beat the story mode / the tours in 3 hours, and the online play was actually some of the most inferior online play of any Mario Kart game. So a lot of people were turned off and said, well, what do I play next on my Switch 2? There's nothing but ports. And so when Donkey Kong Bonanza was announced and then it came out in July of 2025, yes, this is the reason now, the system seller, this is why we needed a Switch 2. Or at least that's what Nintendo led you to believe. And hey, I bit the bait, hook, line, and sinker. I saw that Nintendo Direct that was just about Donkey Kong Bonanza, and everything they showed you made it look like this game was essentially the next Mario Odyssey. We had Super Mario Odyssey in 2017, blew us all away with its creative designs, the transformations with the hat, every world feeling like a completely different game, right? The jungle world versus New Donk City versus the world where it's like Dark Souls, the big finale against a big Bowser boss. It all feels so unique and interesting. The game is constantly innovating and changing things and staying fresh and making you feel like, wow, this is like game of the generation when it comes to Mario. This is worth the money. This is a Switch system seller. This is good stuff. And that's what they made Donkey Kong Bonanza look like in its Nintendo Direct. Ladies and gentlemen, Donkey Kong Bonanza is not as good as Super Mario Odyssey, in my opinion. Super Mario Odyssey was my Game of the Year pick for 2017. Yes, I even thought that Odyssey was better than Breath of the Wild that year for the level of innovation, the graphics, the way that every single stage was different. It never felt boring or overstayed its welcome during the course of that playthrough. Donkey Kong Bonanza starts off strong. You arrive in this world where everything is destructible, and it's like a playground. Like, I've never seen a game with this level of destruction before. You know, I played games way back when where their destructibility, you could blow up buildings and things like this, Red Faction, Guerrilla, or Battlefield 4, but nothing compares to Donkey Kong Bonanza. You can literally smash almost everything in the environment, and once you get a sonar ability, you can see hidden collectibles through walls, such as bananas that you collect to get upgrades, almost like this is an RPG and you gain skills through getting enough bananas. There's also relics that you find that allow you to unlock equipment. You can either wear clothing that will give you abilities like maybe resistance to certain kinds of damage, or when you transform into a special transformation mode, maybe you have more health or you're stronger. And then there's outfits for the sidekick character, Pauline, that allow her to also give you buffs and things like that you buy with these relics that you find throughout the worlds. Now, yes, the worlds are different. As you travel through these layers, going deeper and deeper into the core of the earth, there's going to be a world that's ice and fire, a world that's like a jungle, a world that's like a trash heap, okay? They're all themed, and each one usually has some kind of a unique element to it. In one world, there's going to be acid, and the only way you can stop the acid is to throw sand on it, okay? But the thing is, unlike Super Mario Odyssey, where every world truly does feel just like that, a different world with different mechanics that you can learn, and now it feels unique and different. With Donkey Kong Bonanza, every world feels the same. Why? Well, because there's only two things to really do in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Follow the exclamation points around the map where people will tell you, go over here and do this, go over here and do this, go over here and do this, go to the next layer. Do this, next layer, do this, boss fight, on to the next layer. That's the core gameplay elements. And if you rush through the game, you can beat this game in around 10 hours. I'm not kidding. No exaggeration. It's documented on the internet. If you skip any of the challenges, the side content, or anything like that, you can beat Donkey Kong Bonanza in around 10 hours. But the key elements of the game are the collectathon feeling. Going through the game, using the sonar, finding all the hidden bananas, completing platforming challenges to get extra bananas, finding all of the hidden fossils so that you can then unlock all the equipment pieces. That's the whole point of the game. That's the gameplay loop. That's what's supposed to hook you. And to be honest, it did hook me early on. But once I got about 10 hours into the game, you're beating World 2, you're heading into World 3, World 4, you start to realize the game's starting to feel really samey. I mean, yeah, the looks of the environment look a little different, and maybe there's like one new gameplay element in the world, but the thing is, it's only really ever implemented in that world. It's not like you learned the new gameplay element and now you got to use this later. It's more like, well, it's just for that one world, and when you're gone, it's done. On to the next world that has one gameplay element, but the one thing that remains constant, smashing everything. Just smash everything. Smash the wall, smash the ceiling, smash the ground, dig it all up, get the items. That's the gameplay loop of Donkey Kong Bonanza. So if you're okay with that, and you want to sink endless hours into this kind of exploration collectathon gameplay, great. But for me, I was looking for something more original that actually would feel different with each world, and sadly for me, it just didn't, okay? Now, there are unique animal transformations. You could turn into a superpowered gorilla. You could turn into a zebra that runs really fast. You turn into an ostrich that can fly and hover. You turn into an elephant that can suck up kinds of ground and make it into giant boulders it can throw. And you can also turn into a snake that can super jump and slow down time. That's all well and good, but to be honest with you, you almost never use the zebra. You almost never use the snake. In fact, you get the snake so late in the game, it's almost never used at all. The first form is great for combat, and you can bully your way through almost all combat in the game just by activating that first transformation and mashing buttons. No exaggeration. There's entire bosses that I'm sure there was a way to actually try to beat them, but I just activated the first transformation and mashed the button and beat the boss. Brainless. It's completely brainless gameplay. You could just beat the game like that, okay? The elephant you can use for tougher things, like later on there's bosses who use like fire elements and things. Just suck it all up, throw it back, win. So in reality, if you don't understand what I'm getting at, Donkey Kong Bonanza is incredibly easy. I would say out of my 30 hours, maybe 1 hour challenged me. And that would have just been a few optional platforming challenges to get extra bananas, and or maybe 1 or 2 bosses. And that's it. This game is insanely easy. It's just unplug your brain, run around mashing buttons, collecting items, leveling up, and then just rushing through to the boss, and you're done. That's the game. Now, there is post-game content, but I didn't do it. For what I'm going to understand, you just go back to the same world you've already been in, and now there's new challenges and new bananas to find, but not much significantly different. It's just more of the same. The thing is, I was bored with that collectathon style around 10 to 15 hours in, and I just wanted it to go to something new and original. Are there original things? Well, there's one stage in the game that's completely fan service. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil it. And I will say this. The final level, the final hour of the game is by far the best hour of Donkey Kong Bonanza. That level actually implements use of almost all of your transformations, has epic boss fights, cool Easter eggs, and all kinds of awesome references. If you're a fan of Donkey Kong Country and or Donkey Kong in general, the final hour of Donkey Kong Bonanza is worth fighting through, getting through all that repetition and boredom to get to. But overall, I'm not reviewing the final hour of Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm reviewing the entire package. And this game is full of flaws. Number one, the graphics. They're great, except when they're not. There were many critical points during the playthrough when the graphics would chug. You'd be in the middle of a critical boss fight. Oh my goodness, there's a million things on the screen, and all of a sudden, the game goes down to the teens of frame rate, and you're trying to play, and the game actually controls in slow-mo. It's a console-exclusive game. Why isn't it optimized to run on the console? If the console can't handle what you want to do with the boss fight, then change the boss fight. It's a no-brainer. But they didn't do that. Instead, you have to fight through these annoying parts. I'd say there's probably 3 different boss fights in the game including some of the final bosses, which are the hardest in the game, where the frame rate dips and the game plays in slow-mo. It's infuriating, okay? Also, just the whole idea that the game at its core is a collectathon, okay? Collectathon games were popular in the 1990s. Games like Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, and Donkey Kong 64, the last time they pulled a game like this, basically almost killed the entire genre. Donkey Kong 64 was actually rated so poorly and disliked by so many gamers that they stopped making collectathon games. I'm not kidding. Like, that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I have a question to ask Nintendo. If collectathon games stopped working in the late 90s and early 2000s and everyone stopped making them, why did you bring them back? Why didn't you make Donkey Kong Bonanza a game like Super Mario Odyssey, where it just employs cool, original, fun platforming elements for the most part, instead of just running around smashing things through walls and collecting bananas and fossils? I just don't get it. You know what works because we abandoned this formula 25 years ago. You decided to bring it back when no one asked you for it. I literally don't get it. Like I said, it's not that it's bad or not functional, but you do it so much that you just get bored. Like, I got bored with the collectathon halfway through, and I just wanted to get to the end. And people were like, oh, 15 more hours of this. Good Lord. You would have thought a platformer I could have beaten in like a couple of weeks. It took me a month and a half. You want to know why? My audience got so bored of the game, they were begging me to quit. They stopped showing up, they stopped engaging, and they stopped supporting my stream, saying, quit the game. I had to tough it out to finish this game. That's not a good sign. $70 plus tax for a game that doesn't have nearly as much innovation, nearly as much fun as a game that came out 8 years ago, when all we ever wanted was Super Mario Odyssey 2. We got Donkey Kong Bonanza, a game that just sadly doesn't hold a candle to the previous iteration of platforming on the Switch 1. So it's disappointing. I didn't hate the game. I do think it's way too long. It's way too repetitive. The collectathon gets boring, and the graphics should not be chopping up the way that they do. But ultimately, there were some moments that I really liked, particularly that last hour of the game actually is incredibly good, and I actually really liked how it ended. But I didn't need to go through 29 hours to get to the one good hour. The whole game could have been good, and that's the core problem with Donkey Kong Bonanza. It should have been better, like Mario Odyssey was. In 8 years, how did they get worse? I don't get it. So ultimately, you make the decision, but I don't think that Donkey Kong Bonanza is as good as Super Mario Odyssey. I don't think it's a Switch 2 system seller. And here we are now, 3 months into the life cycle of this new console, and I'm still scratching my head why anyone needs it. You don't need to play Mario Kart World. It's actually the weakest Mario Kart in ages, if not the weakest ever. Donkey Kong Bonanza is insanely underwhelming, boring, repetitive, and not as good as Super Mario Odyssey, and everything else is a port. Oh, banana. When I started playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, we were all making jokes, ooh, banana. By the end of the playthrough, every time I booted up the game on a stream, everyone was like, oh, banana. Not again. Isn't it over yet? No, I have to finish it. So I'm happy I beat it tonight. Thank you to those who watched my playthrough. I hope that this review allows me to explain some. And again, it's hard to really fully explain what I mean when I can't give you spoilers. I don't want to spoil the game for people, but please trust me. Sadly, so far this year, for console exclusives, Nintendo is 0-2. 2 games that should have been system sellers that were insanely disappointing. What's next? Pokemon? Metroid Prime 4? Kirby Star Riders? Something's got to be good, or else why do we have this console? I have it because I need to review it, but you might have dropped a lot of money on this thing and you're scratching your head, what do I do with it? Or maybe you're wondering, when should I buy the Switch 2? In my opinion, not yet. I'm still waiting for a great game. I've got a couple okay games. I want great ones. There's nothing here yet. Thanks for watching my video on Donkey Kong Bonanza. I hope this helps you make a decision for yourself, and peace out.